Hello friends, welcome back to the class. So you must be really tired or angry on me for such a long course only to start the ethical hacking classes. You have almost learned 15 and a half hours of the course that you are seeing backside over here just to start ethical hacking from this point. As I promised, there are new students or beginners who want to learn and make career in ethical hacking, so they need to learn all these things, and you have an option to skip the contents which you already know. Since I promise few students that you just need to have a basic knowledge on computers, rest all I will teach. So let us now start learning ethical hacking from this point. And I apologize for taking such a long time to wash your brains and to feed some knowledge to start this course from this point. So from now we will start learning ethical hacking, and in this entire course there are three major sections. One is pre-exploitation, that is information gathering or data gathering that is required to exploit the targets. Then the next section is exploitation itself, where we actually exploit the targets based on the vulnerabilities or based on the project we do in the pre-exploitation phase. And finally a post-exploitation, where we actually try to maintain the targets that are actually exploited or hacked, then the clearing tracks. So let us start with pre-exploitation, where we are going to do a lot of research on gathering information, that is by doing reconnaissance or footprinting, then scanning and enumeration. Most of these classes are from now 90% practicals only, because in the 15 hours of the entire section that you have learned earlier, we have almost covered the basics of ethical hacking. So come on, let's start with reconnaissance. Reconnaissance, scanning, enumeration, footprinting, all these terms are related to information gathering. And if you see this image, you might have remember this image in the initial classes regarding the importance or necessity of data or information gathering. And you can see this next slide as well. So what these two slides represent? So these two slides represent a company with the infrastructure, and the company has n number of devices like computers, routers, switches, and so on. Workstations included, including Wi-Fi, and even mobile phones are connected to internal networks. So you need to gather as much as information so that the attack surface can be reduced. When you see such a big image, you will be confused or you will be get terrorized where to attack or on what device you need to attack. But when you have a clear information of vulnerabilities on any system or any application, then you can reduce the attack surface, or you can concentrate on that particular app or a device so that you can later compromise the entire network. So reconnaissance, or let's start with the footprinting. So as you can see in the slide, information gathering, the first step of hacking process is gathering information of the target, which is also known as a footprinting, and the process of gathering this information available from any sources. Sources could be like internet or like from a disgruntled employees and so on. So collecting that information or gathering that information or data is called as a footprinting, and the definition you can see in the second part. It is defined as a process of creating a blueprint. Like when you are building a house, or when civil engineer is building a house, he generally creates a building plan, okay, and that is exactly what is known as a blueprint. How to build a house, where the pillars of the house should be, and where the kitchen should be, where the bedrooms and where the hall should be. That is a blueprint of that civil engineer for that building. And for our company, for our target, we create a blueprint so that we can know certain information like a domain name, network services, as you can see down over here, network services and applications, IDS, and specific private IP addresses included, not only public but also private IP addresses, company phone numbers, also network blocks, architecture, authentication mechanisms, and so on. So this is called as a footprinting. There are two types of footprintings, active and passive. In the active footprinting, we as an attacker directly attack or probe the target or target network or the device or the application itself to get the crucial information. That could include a port scanning, social engineering, and so on. While in a passive footprinting, the hackers or attackers will never directly probe in order to avoid the chance of being caught. So he will generally get the information from websites, DNS records, job portals, newspapers, and so on. in an indirect method. Okay, so reconnaissance, we have been talking about reconnaissance since a few minutes. So reconnaissance or a recon, or sometimes you call it a recce. Okay, all these are catchy terms in order to get the information where, how, when, and so on. These WH questions, like if you have any knowledge on investigations, basically investigations or investigators particularly ask few questions like where, when, how, why, and so on. So this pattern of behavior to get the information from the target computer is nothing but a reconnaissance. And again, like footprinting, reconnaissance could be anonymous or a pseudo-anonymous. It is nothing but in the anonymous way, we or hackers try to gather information without revealing our identity, so that we can stay behind the curtains, not being caught, or stay behind the proxies. Okay, while pseudo-anonymous is nothing but blaming other persons for your attack. So when you attack or when you directly attack a target computer, you use proxies instead of directly attacking them. So when the target company try to investigate, he will only see the proxy IP addresses. So you are actually blaming the proxy for your actions. That is pseudo-anonymous. So what is competitive intelligence? Competitive intelligence is nothing but we need to gather, or a process of gathering information of our competitors in order to attack them, or you can gather information about the competitors. Like if I am a Coca-Cola business, then I will get the information of a Pepsi in order to hack that company, or I will gather the information so that I can sell or I can give it to my clients. So let me get back to the footprinting slide once again. So this is a footprinting slide. Footprinting is also known as reconnaissance sometimes, or information gathering, and it is the initial phase of hacking process, and it involves a systematic and passive collection of information about the target or a target system, network, or it could be an organization. And it's the purpose of footprinting is to create a blueprint, as said, of the target, which can be later used in subsequent stages of the hacking process in order to identify the vulnerabilities, or you can say the potential attack vectors. Footprinting is typically non-intuitive, meaning it does not involve direct interaction unless you are actively doing it, and it relies on publicly available information, mostly open source intelligence and various tools that we are going to use in this course. The gathered information during this footprinting can be used to better understand of the target infrastructure. Okay, as you can see, or as you have already seen the images of the company, when you actually see that images, you will be get little intimidated. So in order to remove that confusion and reduce the attack surface, you have to understand the target infrastructure, its online presence, and potential weak points or vulnerabilities. There are so many methods in order to get information using footprinting, like publicly available information, DNS, that is domain name footprinting, who is lookups. We are going to see all these things in a practical. Email footprinting, network footprinting, web footprinting, social engineering, search engine footprinting, and competitive intelligence. As we already said, that a hacker may gather information about the competitors, partners, or industry trends. And to talk about reconnaissance in a better way, once again, it is a military term which I earlier called as a recon or recce, is used to refer to the process of gathering information before launching an operation or before launching an attack. As said, there are two kinds: passive reconnaissance, active reconnaissance. Passive reconnaissance involves gathering about the target without directly interacting with it. This type of reconnaissance relies mostly on the publicly available data or open intelligence and information that is easily accessible without any active probing of the target. And the example could be like websites, social media or social engineering, querying the domain registrations, and so on. And in the active reconnaissance involves engaging with the target directly. Of course, you use proxies, that is a different matter. And unlike passive reconnaissance, active requires interaction with the target, which I already told, and can be intrusive, meaning it can raise alarm on the target security systems. Okay, if a network security administrator find out if there is an attack, he can find out that there is an attack. Okay, so reconnaissance is a crucial stage in order to collect the information. The objective of footprinting is, as you can see in the slide, it is not only regarding footprinting, it could be regarding the reconnaissance, or sometimes it could come into scanning and enumeration, depending on what kind of information you are trying to get or trying to enumerate. Objectives are divided into three types: network footprinting, organizational, and host. where you get DNS information or try to get DNS information, IP networks, accessible systems, websites, access controls, and then you come to a firewall vendors. Like FortiGate is a firewall, then IDS and IPS systems, routing and routed protocols, phone numbers, and so on. When it comes to organizational, the structure of the organization, again the websites, phone numbers, directory information of the company history and business associations. And when it comes to host footprinting or host information gathering, listening to the application services or listening to services, that is open ports, operating systems and its versions, internet reachability, what times the company systems are open to public networks, enumerating the information like SNMP information, users, that is accounts, user accounts or employee accounts and groups, mobile devices, etc. And the tools that you are going to use to get the initial information like footprinting or reconnaissance are like Sublister, Netcat, Whois, NSLOOKUP, SAMSPADE, Metasploit. We have entire course. Third course is penetration testing with Metasploit, where we get use a lot of tools to actually exploit the target systems. Okay, and Metasploit can be used to get the initial information as well. And as said, you can use the search engines, MetaGoofil, Wayback Machine, that is archive.org, where we get information from the websites that were listed years ago. Like my website was hosted somewhere in year 2008 actually. Officially we launched in 2010, but I have my INSECTECHS website running since 2008, so I can get the information of my company, that is INSECTECHS, from the website from 2008. And then we have Backstreet Browser, Web Ripper, Black Widow, HTTP Track, Email Tracker Pro, and so on. Nmap is a very important tool to get a lot of information as well as to exploit sometimes, and dig, OSRF framework, Recon, Harvester, and so on. So we are going to see all these tools like Multigo, Shodan, etc. So that's it for this video. From the next class, we will see the practicals of all the tools, how we are going to use the tools and what information we are going to get it, and how to save this information systematically, so that at what point we can find or could be useful to find a loophole, vulnerability or an attack point, so that we can reduce the attack surface. Have a great day, guys. Thank you for watching the video and do subscribe to the YouTube channel INSECTECHS.